everybody. Looks like we're live. I am Ren Carruthers, and this is your Future Stars Friday forecast on the Breeders' Cup Twitter stream. I hope you're having a great evening there on the East Coast. It's still, not too late here on the West Coast. My special guest today is Case Clay of Three Chimneys Farm. Now, Three Chimneys has raised a lot of stars. It's been home to some of the all-time greats like Seattle Slew. But Case is a great who was actually raised on the farm as well because it was his parents who started it. So Case, right off the bat, tell us about the legacy of Three Chimneys.
Oh, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on. It was, so my father was in the fertilizer business back in the 70s, and he had done his college thesis at William and Mary on the horse business, and thought it was a neat business. And so he and my mom bought the original property, which is still the broodmare division today, in 1972.
Oh.
And boarded horses and had a few broodmares, and then started to consign some horses as agent as those foals started to be born. And then it was not until 1984 that Dad thought he would get into the stallion business. There were some behemoths out there,
yeah.
Claiborne and Gainesway and Spendthrift, that had lots of stallions, and so he thought he wanted to get in the stallion game as well, and in a smaller way. At the time, and just to start off small. So he got in touch with the Taylors when Slew of Gold was running up in New York, and they took a chance on him, and so he was the first stallion. And then after that was Chief's Crown, who was the first Breeders' Cup winner, actually, of the very first Breeders' Cup race.
1984 Juvenile.
Yeah, the 1984 Juvenile, that's right, at Hollywood Park, and he was second. And then what really, at that time, put Three Chimneys on the map for the first time was Karen and Mickey Taylor owned the majority of Slew of Gold, and the old Spendthrift farm had gone public on the New York Stock Exchange, and that didn't work out for them. And Seattle Slew was over there, so they called and asked if they could relocate him. And so it was really a stroke of luck that got Three Chimneys its start in the starting business.
That's amazing. A lot of people know, I mean, talk about Three. In my top 3 favorite horses of all time, Slew is right there. It's Secretariat, Man o' War, Seattle Slew. This is a horse who not only showed tremendous talent and guts on track, but I have to say his defeat in the Jockey Club Gold Cup to Exceller is probably one of the best run races in defeat you will ever see.
Well, he certainly was. I mean, to be in the same sentence with Man o' War and Secretariat in your top 3,
yeah.
that's saying a lot.
Well,
but he had. When I knew him, it was only in the stallion barn, and he did have he had that eye, just the champion eye that you rarely see. But
yeah.
he just knew, you could just look in his eye and know that he knew that he was the best.
Wow, there's just something about a horse who can overcome such adversity, and then just you look at the times in the race, and just everything about it. And the other thing that just makes him so special in my heart is not only was he a champion on track, 1977's Triple Crown champion. I'm guessing I know who you're rooting for in the virtual derby tomorrow.
Yeah.
So not only did he have that champion heart, those again guts, but he went on to sire one of the most prepotent sires that we have, and that is AP Indy. I mean, do you get a sense of pride, even though AP Indy was standing at Lane's End, do you get a sense of pride knowing that the Seattle Slew line, through him and then through AP's son Pulpit through then Tappet, and then you have Sky Mesa. We'll talk about him in a minute. Is there a feeling of connection to all these horses on a more intimate level because Slew stood there?
Well, I don't think it's pride. I think it's just, grateful to be
part of it.
Well, it's definitely grateful to have been, been involved with Seattle Slew, and then just impressed that, like you said, he was a breed-shaping sire to produce, to sire AP Indy, who is also a breed-shaping sire, and Tappet, who's going to continue the same legacy. So, it's just grateful that he touched our lives in some way. And then, like you said, there have been great racehorses that have not been such influential breed-shaping sires, and he's one of the only ones. That's really neat. There's another kind of old story about him that I really liked.
Oh, tell us.
Which was when Silver Charm retired to Three Chimneys. These stallions, when they retire, they all think that they're the best because they were.
Exactly.
No matter which farm they retired to, they've just done great things on the racetrack. And so Silver Charm was in his paddock, and he was looking over the fence, just looking over the land like he was the bee's knees. And Seattle Slew was getting led back into the barn, and he walked by. He was being led by the groom, and he walked by Silver Charm, who was still in his paddock, and he stopped and he stared him down. And they had their eyes locked, and they were just staring at each other. And then Silver Charm looked at the ground, and then Seattle Slew kept walking to the barn.
Oh man,
as if to say, I'm the guy here.
Well, he defeated a Triple Crown winner twice and Affirmed. Affirmed was in that Jockey Club Gold Cup. He finished well ahead of him, and then also he had beaten him previously too. So this is just or was it after? I can't remember where he beat him. He finished ahead of him twice. Once when he was winning, and I cannot think of it. It was in the Marlboro Handicap. And so this was a horse. Again, if you want to talk about testosterone, you want to talk about, there is definitely there are some people who have their different theories with even just handicapping the races based on hierarchy and herd dynamics. And that being said, I really do feel that Seattle Slew was one of these horses that not only, again, did he have the talent just in terms of the mechanics, but he truly emanated a sense of being top alpha dog wherever he was. And that's what makes him, again, such an exciting horse, not only from the historic standpoint, but what we still see in these modern days of his influence carrying through the stud book. And as you mentioned before, Slew O Gold was one of his sons who you stood. And Slew O Gold, you've got that Breeders' Cup connection there, as you mentioned, ran against Wild again, who won the inaugural Classic, and then who eventually came to your farm.
That's right. That was when Calumet closed its stallion doors, and got him from that point in 1991. So at the time we were kind of heartbroken that Slew Gold did not win the Classic.
Right.
Welcomed Wild again with open arms when he relocated.
And you also had War Chance down there, won the Breeders' Cup Mile. You've got a lot of Breeders' Cup connections. I just want to go back to Slew again. Not only did he sire AP Indy, who, as we know, won the 92 Classic, but he also sired Capote, who won the Juvenile in 86 and Eclipse Champion 2-year-old honors, as well as Vindication, who was Eclipse Champion 2-year-old, winning the Juvenile in 2002. So you've got that connection there to the Breeders' Cup. Rahy was another horse that you stood. He had Dreaming of Anna win the Juvenile Fillies in 2006. Fantastic Light won the Turf in 2001. Pounce the Juvenile Turf in 2009. Another fun fact about that horse is that he's also the sire of Mariah Storm. And Mariah Storm, she's the dam of Giant's Causeway. So you've got that influence there as well, coming from a Three Chimney stallion. we can also mention Dynaformer. He didn't have a Breeders' Cup champion, but he came close, and he sired a lot of great horses, irrespective. I mean, his Grade 1 winner, Perfect Drift, who won the Stephen Foster. He was third in the 2002 Derby. That was to War Emblem. And he was also a third to St. Liam in the 2005 Breeders' Cup Classic. And we're going to talk about St. Liam coming up because he is a name that you see time and again in your pedigrees there at the farm with your current roster. But Dynaformer also, he was the sire of one of our favorite horses who knows what this colt could have done, and that was 2006's Kentucky Derby winner Barbaro. That must have been even more heartbreaking for you when Barbaro eventually succumbed to laminitis after his injury in the Preakness Stakes.
Definitely, yeah. That was a heartbreak for sure. What I remember most about Barbaro, however, was the Roy and Gretchen Jackson and how they treated him, and they always said the day he starts to show that he's suffering, that's when we're gonna say goodbye to him. And they stayed by him. They gave him the best care, and stood by him. But the moment that he started to suffer, and all the guys, Dean at New Bolton, they all stood by him as well. But anyway, that was what I remember most about Barbaro.
That's the testament to that horse's heart. I mean, he really did fight for a long time, and when they had to make that heartbreaking decision, I mean, I am not alone in being someone who says I was bawling my eyes out when that news came down. But what a beautiful horse, and what a lasting legacy, and how wonderful that he's forever remembered in statuesque form there at Churchill Downs, huh?
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Talking about legacies carrying on, we were talking about Seattle Slew. One of those horses who carries that line forward, who is on your current Three Chimneys roster, is, of course, Sky Mesa, son of Pulpit. Again, Pulpit, son of AP Indy. Pulpit, he himself was Cyrus, having, turned out Tappet, right?
Right.
But Sky Mesa, like, his pedigree, I don't think people get just, like, how cool and what modern connections we still have to it, because he's out of the mare Caress by Stormcat. Stormcat, being her sire, makes her a full sister to Bernstein. We know Bernstein not only as being a good racehorse, but also the sire of Tepin. But Caress, again, Sky Mesa's dam, she also produced Velvety on a cover of Bernardini. Bernardini, another son of AP Indy. So this makes her a three-quarter sister to Sky Mesa, and Velvety is the dam of current Kentucky Derby hopeful Maxfield. So that must feel pretty cool to have such a horse close up in the pedigree vying for those roses this year, huh?
Yeah, it is neat. I mean, he's and he traces back, his female line goes back to La Troyenne.
Yeah.
He's one of those stallions that he's just great value. He kind of reminds me of Broken Bow in a way. Just, he's just great value. He's a great stallion to get your mare started off, and he just keeps producing these great state. I mean, Perfect Alibi. It just goes on and on and on. Each year he keeps producing these good racehorses.
She ran great. Perfect Alibi. She won the Spinaway and the Adirondack. She was second in the Darley Alcibiades to your eventual Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner, British Idiom. What a lovely filly she is, and what a nice run she put in that day.
Yeah, she really did. So no, Sky Mesa, he's a special horse, and he was actually that same crop as Vindication.
Yeah.
So anyway, no, he's a farm favorite for sure.
Well, you gotta love, he was a Grade 1 winner at 2. He won the Hopeful, and he went on to be a really nice horse. Even at, going on into his 3-year-old season, he was second in the Haskell, and that was to Peace Rules, but he finished ahead of Funny Side. So it's he's just a really well-bred, well-conformed horse who is again carrying on the Seattle Slew line. I mean, as you already mentioned, Perfect Alibi. He also had some other stakes winners, including Meru, who picked up the Smoke Lacken, and then he put in a really nice runner-up finish in the Nashua Stakes. I love some of the stats you have in here. You have that right here, 16.5% stakes horses to runners and 75.5 winners to starters. So 140 black type horses, 72 stakes winner, 25 graded stakes winners. I mean, from this line, he's a really solid horse.
Yeah, he's a solid stallion for sure, and he's got 100 mares on his book this year, and he's he's an old guy. He's a 2003, I believe. He's a 2000. He was 3 in 2003. So I believe that's right. So anyway, he's got 100 mares on his book as an older stallion.
He still looks great too, though.
What's that?
He still looks great. Older stallion. He looks good.
He looks fantastic. He's still going.
That's right.
Going. But there was another kind of legacy horse that you mentioned that has come forward into our Three Chimneys current roster, which is Rahy was the sire of Dreaming of Anna.
Yes.
Who's the dam of Fast Anna.
Yes.
Who's standing at Three Chimneys now.
Boy, we're gonna get to that pedigree. That you got some Kitten's Joy in there. We'll get to that in a minute. But I want to give one more shout out to Sky Mesas before we move forward. And that fact, you were talking about that La Troyenne line. I say this every time La Troyenne comes up. It's probably the most prolific line we have. All these great horses come from different branches of it with her daughters. This is a line that includes Easy Goer and just, the list is so overwhelming that it would be hard to go over everybody. But one of the key names also in it is Outstandingly. And she was a Breeders' Cup champion herself. She won the Juvenile and she won the Eclipse. And so it's just a really, again, black type heavy. You've got Derby winners. You've got every type of grade 1 winner in it. And he himself has produced grade 1 winners on every surface. So again, he's a solid horse, offers versatility. And again, I love that he carries the Slew line on forward. And now, moving to what you were talking about, Fast Anna. Okay, so you're by Medaglia d'Oro, who, we know what champions he's produced. It was really fun today. They, I think, did a streaming visit with Rachel Alexandra, one of his champion daughters. And I think it was the day before yesterday, was Songbird's birthday, another of his champions. But Medaglia d'Oro himself, he won the Travers, he won the Whitney, he was... Talk about runner-up resume here. He's second in the Belmont, second in the Pacific Classic, and second in 2 editions of the Breeders' Cup Classic, as well as the Dubai World Cup. This was a game racehorse, always showed up. But then, like you mentioned, Fast Anna is out of Dreaming of Anna by Rahy. Now, I got to give a shout-out to my friend Wayne Catalano, who trained Dreaming of Anna. She won the 2006 Breeders' Cup Fillies and was Eclipse champion 2-year-old filly. Talk about black type here. She's also, never mind her own accomplishments, she's also a full sister to multiple grade 2 winners, Lewis Michael and Just Enough Humor, the latter of which she was 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Mile. And then that second dam, Just Enough Heart, multiple stakes winner, grade 3 place, and half sister to a horse that we all know, Kitten's Joy, 2004's champion grass horse. He happened to be second in the Breeders' Cup Turf that year to Better Talk Now, but still, my goodness, what a dynasty this horses are too. Can you talk about how fun it is to have Fast Anna there on the roster? And he's just getting started. We've just been seeing some of his horses debut this past year, I believe, right? That was his first crop?
Yeah. So he's had 3 stakes winners in his first crop, and one of them's actually been studying her, whose broodmare sire is dam sire is Kitten's Joy. So he's been off to a great start in his first crop with the 3 stakes winners, Lexi on the Move, Fast Scene, and been studying her. So we've been real happy with him, and he's a very, very good looking horse. You would expect me to say that, but
no, they are though.
Really good looking horse, and people who came and saw him in the barn, they kind of sign up because he's a good price. Yeah. And so really, really happy to have him and excited about his future.
Can you talk about just how dynamic it is that, you're by a horse who could easily get mile and a quarter, a mile and a half. He just can come out with the speed there. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so that's what was kind of neat about him as well, because he was just barely second in the King's Bishop himself, Bastiana was, and then by Medaglia d'Oro, who has the classic distance, and then Dreaming of Anna, who was the champion 2-year-old. So he had kind of all the parts, and the probably the neatest thing about it is that he was in 2019 he was tied for number 2 freshman sire by stakes winner.
Nice.
So it's actually kind of paying off with regard to his results, and so it was I'd say gratifying was probably the word to describe that. The Torrealbas and Doug Coughlin was very keen on him.
Yes.
He's rewarding what they believed in from the start, and a really good group of shareholders as well, and to support the horse.
I think it's exciting when you see that a horse is offering speed that can carry that pedigree again. I mean, you've got a horse with classic distances, and Bastiana himself, like you mentioned, second at King's Bishop, just super impressive. Another horse I'm really excited about, his babies have not debuted yet. We're gonna have to wait for that. But that's Fantastic. Now, Fantastic, just he himself, Grade 1 winner, won the United Nations. But he's also by More Than Ready. And I've been talking about More Than Ready a lot lately. I mean, More Than Ready, in terms of the Breeders' Cup, there is no sire who has had his progeny win more Breeders' Cup races. He has 7 Breeders' Cup wins thanks to his sons and daughters. And he has 6 individual winners. And the only horse that can match that is Unbridled Song. And, I mean, so you've got More Than Real, who won the Juvenile Fillies Turf in 2010. Pluck won the Juvenile Turf 2010. Regally Ready, Turf Sprint 2011. Roy H. won the Sprint back-to-back years, 2017, 2018. Rushing Fall, Juvenile Fillies Turf in 2017. And Uni, just this past Breeders' Cup, won the mile against the boys. That was so thrilling. Now, not only do you have him being by a sire like this, with, just consistency and horses that can fire and keep on firing beyond their 2-year-old season, but Fantastic is out of Quiet Dance. And this is where I'm going to slow things down for our viewers who maybe are students of pedigree. So Quiet Dance, Fantastic's mom, she is also the dam of St. Liam. We talked about St. Liam earlier. St. Liam won the 2005 Breeders' Cup Classic, Horse of the Year, champion older horse. Now, what's interesting here is they're more closely related than being half siblings, because St. Liam, he's by St. Bellato by Halo, and St. Liam, by the way, as a sire himself, went on to produce Havre de Grace, a filly or mare who ended up getting Horse of the Year honors in 2011, which is a pretty high achievement to take that over males. But so you have St. Liam again by St. Bellato by Halo. Fantastic is by More Than Ready, and More Than Ready is a Halo line sire as well, because he is by Southern Halo. So again, they're more closely related than just being half. They're not, officially 3/4, but they definitely have that same crossbreeding going on. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, well, the thing I think what strikes me about Fantastic's female page or pedigree page is you essentially have 3 horses of the year on the page.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, Havre de Grace is by St. Liam. St. Liam himself was horse of the year.
And we're going to get to another one.
And then Gunrunner.
Yep, boom.
Also on the page. So that's what really strikes me the most about Fantastic, is that he's a Grade 1 winner with 3 horses of the year on his female page, and just a really, really nice group of foals. I mean,
yeah,
very impressive group of foals. In fact, there were 9. I think it was last week. There were 9. He got 9 mares on his book just last week. Just 7 days there. So for this late in the season, I think people are seeing his foals, and the ones that are producing them are breeding their mare back. So for me, it's the look of his foals and the and his female page there.
Oh yeah. I mean, as you just mentioned, that is such a juicy bit, and that's what's going to seg us in to talking about Gunrunner. But yeah, so his dam, again, Quiet Dance, not only does she produce St. Liam, but she's also the dam of Grade 2 winner Quiet Giant, a daughter of Giant's Causeway. Quiet Giant is the dam of Gunrunner. So, I mean, that's just, it's got to be fun to have the duality of that. And you have one, Gunrunner, you know, he's a 5-figure price, and then you have the more affordable Fantastic to get that same female family.
Yeah, it's a neat double up.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Well, what are you? By the way, talking about Fantastic and these foals, what are you seeing more? What type of mirrors were bred to him in that first year? Were they more turf? Were they more dirt? Were they more of the pedigrees just like his that are so versatile they can flip either way?
You know, it was a little bit of both. Really, it was a little bit of both, those breeders in the first year took a bet. You know, took a bet on his pedigree, and once he won a Grade 1, he really kind of legitimized himself as a Kentucky Stallion. Yeah. And he did it with, he did it on the lead in the United Nations. He went wire to wire, so he carried it. But anyway, it was a bit of both, to answer your question.
Yeah.
Turf and dirt.
Well, I look forward to watching them develop further. Now let's talk about your other new sire in there, and Gunrunner, and what his foals are telling you, because, hey, I mean, he was already #1 freshman sire at the Keeneland January sale. So that's got to feel great. And oh, by the way, I should say Gunrunner by Candy Ride, who freakishly talented. Candy Ride won the Pacific Classic and was a champion miler in Argentina. But Gunrunner, one of the things before actually I have you get to talking about those foals, I just want to make mention of is ahead of the Whitney, I happened to be there in the paddock at Saratoga. And I was so struck. You know how they always say we like to see horses that move like a cat? I don't think I've ever seen a horse just at the walk look more like a panther ready to pounce than Gunrunner.
Yeah. So that was before the Whitney, you said?
Yes.
Yeah. So I hadn't thought about this till you just mentioned it, but it was actually before the Woodward that you made me think of. When you mentioned the paddock at Saratoga, he actually had before the Woodward. It was the first time we'd ever seen him kind of acting funny.
Oh.
And it was almost like he was short-tempered. And I was standing there with Steve Asmussen's wife Julie, and we were wondering, was there a bee around, or there was something that was annoying him. But so we were a little bit worried there.
Oh no!
But he ended up running a really incredible figure in that race.
Oh yeah,
and winning the Woodward as well. But the other, that was really the only time. But he was as cool as a cucumber and in the paddock and all the other ones. And in fact, Steve was telling me that were you at the Pegasus by any chance?
No, you know what? Get this, Case. I've never been to Gulfstream Park.
Ah,
I know. I don't know. It's bizarre to me, but yeah, I've never been there.
Well, the paddock there is pretty tight, and around that fountain. And that day, it was Gunrunner's last race, and there were so many people in the paddock. It was completely packed. And Steve was telling me that he was, he was just real anxious, and he had to do a television interview, and it's like just got a lot of things going on there, and all those people in the paddock, and so he did the interview, and he went to Gunrunner, and he put his hand on his neck, and Gunrunner's neck was just like completely cool, not hot at all.
Wow.
And he thought, at that point I knew we were gonna win, just because it was, it was Gunrunner basically telling him like, I got this, it's
ice
no
cold.
problem. Yeah, and the neat thing about that was the classic, the race before that at Del Mar.
Yeah.
He had to go. I mean, the fractions that they were running were fast for a mile and a quarter, and he had really good horses breathing down his neck.
Yes, I would say so.
He won on the lead, and he did it very fast fractions, and then in the Pegasus he broke from the outside in a very short run to the first turn, and so he had to speed up, kind of get in front of the other horses and then gear down, and so he won those two races in completely different ways.
So tactical.
What's that?
He's so tactical.
So tactical, and by the way, Florent, did a masterful job as well on the horse. But it was a really great team, great partnership.
Yeah.
Three Chimneys really likes to have partners. Winchell Thoroughbreds was a really wonderful partner in Gunrunner, and had a lot of fun times together. But with Steve and Florent, it was just a really great team.
Oh my gosh, you just look at this race record. I mean, 19 starts, 12 victories, 3 seconds, 2/3, just under, we'll say, just under $16 million. The graded stakes wins, as you mentioned, the Pegasus World Cup, the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Whitney, the Woodward, the Stephen Foster, the Clark. And not to mention his other victories, the Louisiana Derby, the Risen Star, the Razorback, the Matt Win. This is a horse, did not matter track. As we just went over, he could change up tactics if necessary. You talked about that Woodward. He won that by 10 1/4 lengths. That's a 1 1/8 race. He did it in 1:47 and 2. 43 100ths if you want it down to that number. The fastest of 12 Woodwards run at Saratoga. Also in the Stephen Foster, these are just great. If you want to just check out the Three Chimneys website, they have so many great bullet points about their horses. Stephen Foster by 7 lengths, largest winning margin in the history of the race, a 5th off the track record. It's amazing. And again, as you discussed already, this is a horse that could keep his cool. I believe it's the Whitney where he crossed the wire and then we realized he had a horseshoe stuck in his tail.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It was a shoe from another horse.
How scary is that, by the way? I don't know if that horseshoe was one of these glue-ons or what, but if there's a nail in there, that's a scary thought to think of what it could potentially have happened.
Yeah, that's right. No, it was lucky that nothing happened there.
I actually asked Steve about that when I saw him ahead of the Breeders' Cup, I think 2 years ago, and he gave this great story. He still gets teared up when you talk about Gunrunner with him. And he was talking about the horseshoe, and I believe he said that they have it at their house. They framed it as their lucky horseshoe.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, there was that after that race, Scott Blasey drove over, and they had taken the shoe out of his tail and kind of threw it up against a fence. And this guy was on a golf cart. And he drove by, and he grabbed the shoe, and I think Scott negotiated with him to get the shoe to kind of keep it in the camp. But anyway, yeah, pretty funny story. But yeah, no, he was a great. Had a lot of fun with the Winchell Thoroughbreds. And as I mentioned, the Torrealba family who owns Three Chimneys, they love to have. They call it good growth, but they love to have partners in their horses. So, whether it be...
Well, you just mentioned Mr. Torrealba. Can you go and tell us about how he's come into the Three Chimneys picture and how your two visions of what the farm was and how he wants to shape it going forward happen to be? I'm sure it's overlapping. You want to continue to cultivate these great pedigrees, these great lines, and give your horses the best support you can give them. But if you just can go over that, because it is wonderful that you are there as a steward representing your family, and now you've got the Torrealbas involved.
Well, I feel lucky to be there, and I think it's I just work for the farm, but I think that Gonzalo Torrealba had been a client of Three Chimneys for years. In fact, my dad and Gonzalo owned Mayor's Stellarina together back in the 90s, and but he has passionate about pedigrees and horses, and has been for a long time. And his brothers and sisters have really enjoyed being involved with Three Chimneys. They own it together, and one big leap forward really for Three Chimneys after the Tory Elvis purchased it was the Slew stables. Started out as a partnership, and then eventually the Slew stables got out of the thoroughbred business. But Gunrunner came from that, and Quiet Dance and Quiet Giant. So I think it kind of and also Chris Baker, who worked for Mr. Evans at Spring Hill, had a lot of these families. This St. Liam, Quiet Dance, etc. So it's that's been a nice continuation. But anyway, their vision is really pedigrees, partnerships. They call it good growth, and then it's the stallions. That's what drives the farm. So hopefully Gunrunner, these new stallions. Malice has had a great start.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him too.
Can carry on the brand.
Now, it's really cool to see that he's enabled the farm to bring over a horse like Gunrunner. I just got to give this horse some more love in that. This is an individual that was running from 2, and I know it was just 1 start, but still 2 to 5 years old, consistent. I mean, he was 3rd in the Derby. That was to Nyquist and Exaggerator. He was 3rd in the Travers to Arrogate, and probably one of the best performances we've seen. So there's no shame in having run 3rd this day. And he went on. This is something that's very important. I think this is something we're going to have to bring up more as we talk about, horses who are standing at stud, because we're looking now at a scenario going forward where Lasix is going to be phased out. And this is a horse who ran in Dubai. He was 2nd in the Dubai World Cup to Arrogate, and you cannot run in Lasix there. So it's a testament to the horse. He didn't need it. He still put in an amazing performance. And if I remember right, it wasn't even necessarily his game. Didn't it start to rain that day? And it didn't matter. This is a horse that could, I believe, I don't remember exactly what went down. I know Arrogate had that awful start.
No, it rained all day. It actually, it rained the whole weekend. And it rained all day, but then actually I shouldn't say it rained all day. It stopped at about noon, okay. But it was very windy, and so the thought was, well, maybe the track will dry out. Maybe the track will dry out. Anyway, and so then Arrogate stumbled at the start, and both Gunrunner and Arrogate put forward some pretty amazing performances.
Yeah.
And what really impressed me the most about Gunrunner really was then he came back and he won 5 Grade 1s.
Yep. Yes. Because a lot of horses, if they get beat, their heart gets a bit broken. They start to feel like, because again, it goes back to sort of the herd dynamic situation. But no, this is a horse, he never got phased by any of it. And like you said, he just kept turning in great performance after great performance before being the king of the race himself. And it's just so nice to see a horse like that. Again, I'm always a fan of a horse that shows guts. This is a horse that showed guts every time. And he would take anything you threw at him, whether it was that rain, whether it was a distance change, or having to adjust to a pace scenario. So very excited to see Gunrunner. What can you tell us about what you're seeing with his babies? Obviously, like we already went over, they're getting a lot of love already. But what's your personal take?
Yeah, I think... For me, it's more of hearing these breeders talk about them. So, we got a lot of, he's our best, either he's the best foal on the farm, or he's the best the best foal that the mare has thrown yet.
Oh, wow.
And I think he has 100, it's either 150 or 152, something around there, mares on the book this year.
That's awesome.
So I think that's an indicator for me that breeders are enthusiastic about them. We'll see, when they run, when the 2-year-olds start to run in 2021.
Yeah.
But we're very encouraged about them and have supported him. the Winchells and Three Chimney. It's a 50-50 partnership. So
Nice.
They're kind of putting their shoulders behind the horse, and hopefully it works out.
Well, he is a beautiful horse, and again, just got the heart and just everything going for him. And I think it's super cool that we're going to be seeing those babies in the not so distant future. But let's also give some love here to another really, exciting horse on the roster, which is Malice, who you mentioned. Malice himself, he by Curlin Classic winner, 2-time Horse of the Year, won the Jockey Club Gold Cup twice, won the Dubai World Cup, Hall of Fame. You gotta love Curlin. You can't, right? And then he's had a Palace Rumor by Royal Anthem. And now in just his first crop, he's already sired a Breeders' Cup champion, and that is Structor, who won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And not only does he have Structor in that debut crop, but he also has Mr. Monomoy, the half-brother to Monomoy Girl, who won the Kentucky Oaks, which it would have been Kentucky Oaks Day today. Fitting to bring her up, though. And she also won the Breeders' Cup Distaff. And he himself is on the Kentucky Derby Trail, having won one of the divisions of the Risen Star. So you guys must be super stoked.
Yeah, very, very excited. And doing it on the turf and on the dirt. And Structor, as I understand it, is back in training at Stone Street. But yeah, absolutely, just excited about his first start stud. He's been very popular this year, and Mr. Monomoy, is just having done it on turf and dirt in the first crop, and having a champion in the first crop, really speaks for itself. So everybody on the team is very excited.
Well, I also love the race record. Here's another horse that raced from 2 to 5 years old, 19 starts, 7 wins, 6 of those in stakes, 4 seconds, 2/3. He won 2.6, almost $2.7 million. He was a finalist for Eclipse Champion 3-year-old. At 3, he won the Belmont Stakes. Just reasserting that fact that Curlin himself could get a distance, and so he passed that on to this horse. I mean, he won that by 3 1/4 lengths. That was over Oxbow, your Derby winner Orb, etc. He was second himself in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, which his sire won twice, and he's just. Even at 4, the Met Mile. I mean, you're going from winning at a distance of 1.5 miles in the Belmont Stakes, and then you can cut back and win the mile-long Met Mile. So, I mean, it's just a really nice thing to see a horse can show that versatility and distance. I mean, he beat Golden Sense in that race.
Yeah.
2-time dirt mile winner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's funny. This is unrelated, but his personality. He's not a very nice horse in the barn.
Oh, he's ornery.
He's what?
He's ornery.
He's very, very ornery, and he's a good breeder and everything. But he is very ornery. So he's an interesting personality. Dynaformer was actually the same way. They're basically, very, very ornery horses. But that's unrelated. You're right. He was a versatile racehorse. He won a mile. He won a classic at 1.5 miles. And but really now, what we're most excited about is what he did. A champion in his first crop.
Yeah.
And the way Structor won that race, was he just patient and then a good turn of foot.
I remember I was at the barn ahead of the Future Stars Friday card doing interviews, because thankfully I'm so blessed, that's part of my job. I get to go talk to the trainers and see the horses in person. And so I was talking to Chad about Structor, and I couldn't believe it. I think it was 5-1 on the morning line, and you got every bit of it. A Chad Brown on the turf. What the heck?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But not only that, but if I recall, the reason he had pointed him turf in the first place wasn't so much because he doesn't think this horse can go on dirt. I think he had plans to put him on dirt. He just wanted to debut him at a distance, and the turf races are more forgiving in the kid edition book for getting a distance in there than the dirt.
Yeah.
And so, so do you know what the plans are for this horse going forward? Have you talked to Chad? Is he still going to point him toward dirt?
Well, he gave him a little break, and he's back in training at Stone Street. And now Three Chimneys doesn't own this horse, so I'm not quite sure as what the plans are. But he does train Guarana for Three Chimneys,
yes,
and that is, he a lot of these trainers have just basically been, simmering, just trying to keep them fit and happy and evaluate what the options may open up in the coming months. So all I know really about structure is he got a break, and he's back in training at Stone Street.
Well, like you said, great performance there. And you just mentioned Guarana that you guys do own. What a talent! She's a very short resume so far, but in her was it 3 race span? Was it 3 or 4? She won the Acorn. She won the Coaching Club American Oaks. She was second in the Cotillion. What can we expect from her?
Well, hopefully.
Hopefully.
What's that?
Hopefully. I keep talking as if our race schedule is still the same.
It's just tough to say. It's such a weird time, but she's training. According to Chad, she's training very well and looks great. So it's just keep her fit and happy, and Chad's an excellent trainer, obviously, and so we're just fingers crossed, basically, on hopefully she can come back. And then her half sister, speaking of more than she's by More Than Ready Magic Dance.
Okay.
And so it's a great mare. It's a Phipps family mare. And, so anyway, it's going back to the Tori Elvis. They love good pedigrees, and
yes,
so this is a good pedigree here. So
you guys also have Restless Rider, right? And she won the Darley Alcibiades. She was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies to Jaywalk.
Yeah, Restless Rider. She that's another partnership with Fern Circle, who they've been a lot of fun to race with. But yeah, no, she probably. I mean, she won the Alcibiades. But for me, her most important race. I mean, what do I know? But for my most impressive race was the Debutante, when she had to check and hard, and then came around and won by 11. But
again, it's a matter of guts,
really,
right?
Really neat horse, yeah.
Guts and fortitude. Well, while we're talking about your girls that you saw, is Karina Mia part of the Broodmare band now?
Yes.
All right. Okay, she won the Acorn. For those of you who, let's refresh your memories, won the Grade 1 Acorn. She was third in the filly and mare sprint. So yeah, tell us what she's up to. She got a foal by her side right now, or?
She has. Let's see. There's a. She has a gun runner.
Oh, nice.
I believe, it's a Gunrunner colt, who actually is. I went out to take a little video with my phone the other day, and he's got a lot of personality.
Oh, fun!
That guy. He loves to climb up on your back, and is not shy at all.
Aww.
But no, she's doing well. Excited about her career as a broodmare.
Do you know to what extent the Tori Albas want to keep some to race and others go to auction, or?
Yeah, so it's a commercial enterprise that likes to, or a commercial business, I should say, and so takes a look at each year the team will take a look. That's Gonzalo and Chris Baker, Doug Coffin, Steve Jackson, and the broodmare manager as well. We'll take a look and basically try to sell 50% of the value.
Okay.
And so take some to the sale and keep some, and then there's some that'll go to the sale and. Like Gunrunner, for example, went to the sale, and Ron the Winchell's bought half of them. So It's really partnership oriented, but it's also geared towards a budget and selling some of the value and keeping some of the value. So that's essentially what the strategy is.
Well, I'm already, my pockets aren't so deep, but I'm already excited about this colt you're talking about. So I'll just have to love him from afar. Hopefully you will, either on your own account or on the Three Chimneys, post some photos and post some video of him. He sounds like a doll.
Yeah. Now wait a minute. So I've just made I've made a mistake here. So
mistake.
Karina Mia, I've got to back up because
okay.
I'm sorry. So the Gunrunner Colt, I'm going to have to come back to that.
It's okay. It's all good.
Here's what Karina Mia has a Quality Road filly.
Oh, okay.
On the born in February.
Nice.
And then a Curlin Colt yearling.
All right. Well, hey, I'm sure out of a mare like her rather, that has shown such talent. Yeah.
I think what I'm embarrassed here.
Don't be embarrassed. How many horses do you have there? You probably have how many how many horses do you have comprising that herd? Okay. It's probably a ton.
Let's see here. Okay, so the Gunrunner Colt that I was telling you about.
Yes.
That was climbing up on my back is out of Magical World. So he's a half brother to Guarana and Magic Dance.
Well, that's awesome too. I mean, come on.
Sorry about that.
No, you don't have to apologize. Again, how many horses do you have on the farm there?
Well, Three Chimneys has 75 mares.
Well, there you go.
I should have done better than that.
No,
anyway,
come on.
There you go.
Come on, no.
Thank goodness for iPhones, right?
Yes. Although I find that mine suddenly slows down the internet or the Wi-Fi whenever I actually need it.
Yeah, same here.
But no, it's just fun to see horses that you've had success with on track, then go ahead and join the band and go on to produce quality talent. And I'm sure that will be the case for Karina Mia, because I don't think she's had any foals to run yet, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking forward to that. Now, real quick, another note about Malice before we move on. I just want to give some buyer love for him because just going over your notes again that you have on the website, again, 3chimneys.com. I mean, you just look at these buyer figures, just triple digits. 114 in the New Orleans handicap, another 114 in the Westchester. He had a 112 in the Met Mile. You gotta love it. That's all I can say. Yeah. And also you have another grade 1 winner right there in the immediate female family in Rail Trip. So that's cool too. Always love that.
Yeah.
And another horse with a sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't let Malice go without giving some love to Cut Campbell, the late Cut Campbell, and Dogwood Stables.
Yeah.
What fun it was to race with such a class man, and Anne as well. So anyway,
you're right. Oh gosh, and you know what? I used to love. I think it was in the Blood Horse. He would write an editorial every now and then. And they were always so interesting.
Yeah.
Great.
He was a special man.
Yes.
Sure.
Helped start the whole syndication trend that we're seeing now. And just really, really somebody to admire for sure. I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you brought up Cott. Now, another horse, unsurprisingly, with a fantastic pedigree at the farm and one that actually harkens back to some great mares you had there at Three Chimneys in the day, is Sharp as Tekka. This is a son of Freud. Freud, for those who don't know, this is a fun fact. I think this sometimes gets overlooked. Freud is a full brother to Giant's Causeway. It's really sad we lost him, but we've got his full brother here carrying on those genetics. And we all, of course, mentioned before, Mariah Storm, the dam of Giant's Causeway, and Freud, a daughter of Rahy, who stood there. He's out of So Sharp by the aforementioned St. Liam. So you've got that there going again with the 2005 Horse of the Year Breeders' Cup Classic champion. So this is a horse, speed, consistency, and another one that ran well without Lasix over in Dubai. Second in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. No shame. That was to Battle of Midway. And as far as that pedigree goes, I mean, okay, first of all, he himself, Grade 1 winner, 5-time graded stakes winner. He earned just shy of $2.5 million. In the board, 14 to 17 starts, won the Cigar Mile by 5. And that was with Practical Joke in there. Mind your biscuits. And again, in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, he was second, but he still finished ahead of Practical Joke again. He won the Kelso by 4. And then this pedigree, I mean, my gosh. Okay, so the dam, So Sharp, again by St. Liam. She's a half-sister to Grade 1 place Sister Girl Blues. That Sister Girl Blues, she's the dam of Derby runner-up Firing Line, who set a new track record winning the Sunland Derby. So right there, that's a big name that comes out, because that's maybe the only horse that looked like he could do anything in terms of giving Pharaoh a run. But then I forget which race he came. Was it the Preakness where he slipped under himself in the gate a little bit? Firing Line. I believe it was.
I'm trying to remember if that was the race.
I think it was, but in any case, I mean, that was a horse for Simon Callahan. Just had so much talent, and we never got to see it fully realized. So you've got him right there.
Oh yeah, it was the Preakness.
Yeah,
it was the Preakness. Yeah.
You've got him right there in that pedigree with again Sharp Azteca's dam being a half sister to his dam, and then So Sharp. Not to get people confused, again, that is Sharp Azteca's mom. She's also half to Remembered, who's by your Sky Mesa. And Remembered is the dam of multiple Grade 1 turf miler Bowie's Hero. So you've got black type right there. But going to what I was discussing regarding horses that you have a long-standing relationship with, this female family goes back to Square Angel, who was a Canadian champion filly, who then produced a Canadian champion filly in Kamar. And it was through Kamar, who you guys got from the Warner Jones dispersal. She produced 1990's Kentucky Oaks champion Seaside Attraction by Seattle Slew. And you bred that filly with Hermitage Farm. And then she also produced, as a mare, Seaside Attraction, the Cape Canaveral, Cape Town, and Golden Attraction, who's champion 2-year-old filly of 1995. She was third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. But that's not it. Because Kamar also produced Gorgeous by Slew O' Gold. And she was, she was a 3-time Grade 1 winner. She won the Ashland, the Hollywood Oaks, the Vanity. She was second in the 89 Distaff to Bayakoa. I mean, what a pedigree that this horse has.
Yeah, I think the pedigree is a really neat part of it, and it's physical. But it's got a lot of depth of pedigree to it. Gorgeous, by the way, in the Three Chimneys cemetery, it's the stallions, and then Gorgeous is the only female that's buried with the boys. She's under the tree. She's got the best spot. But yeah, I mean, Sharp Azteca. For me personally, the depth of pedigree and the looks of this guy.
I was just about to say that, Case. He is gorgeous.
Yeah, he really absolutely is gorgeous.
And the foals. He's stamping them. They all have that real round, fast, athletic look.
Yeah. So I mean, from a breeder standpoint, a lot of them would come and look at him and then just, sign contracts. Hold me 2, hold me 3, and so he's getting a broad base of support from breeders.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna get a chance because there's a wide variety of breeders and mares that are coming to him based on the 3 factors, but really, frankly. A lot of it is his look.
Yeah.
What drew them to want to sign up right away was his looks. Now, the race record and the pedigree brought them there, and that he's by a full brother. He's by a full brother to Giants Causeway is a big draw as well.
Well, yeah, I would think that this is a horse that's going to offer a ton of versatility.
Yeah, I hope so. Time will tell, but he's gotten a lot of support, and so these stallion farms, the key is to try and get a critical mass of mares.
Yeah.
To try and give these horses a shot. So, and then at that point, it's up to the stallion. So.
Well, covered 195 mares in his first book. So we're going to have a lot to look forward to, I believe. Now, a horse that's been there on the roster, Strong Mandate, son of the only horse to have ever won the Breeders' Cup Classic twice, Hall of Famer Tiz Now. And then he's had a clear mandate, Grade 1 winner by Deputy Minister. Now, not only was she a Grade 1 winner, she won the Spinster, in addition to the John A. Morris and the Shuvi, but she herself is out of a Grade 1 winner in Dream Deal, who won the Monmouth Oaks, etc. And then the third dam is a Grade 1 winner, Likely Mandate. And the other thing about this family is you have other horses here that went on to put in some really stellar performances beyond just, again, these three mares here. As we just mentioned, Strong Mandate himself, a Grade 1 winner, carrying that line forward. That's fourth generation Grade 1 winner. But he's also a half-brother to Newfoundland. I mean, this is a horse, when we're talking about versatility, this is a horse, Newfoundland, won the Canadian Turf, which is Grade 3, won the Skip Away, and second in a Grade 1 dirt race in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. I mean, that's very encouraging to see there. And not only that, but my mom, if you're watching, she'll get a huge kick out of this. One of her favorite horses back in the day was Creme Fraiche.
Oh, no.
Yes. And Strong Mandate's second dam.
He ran a lot against Slew of Gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Strong Mandate's second dam, his grandmother for the layman out there, half sister to Creme Fraiche. This is a horse during the 80s. Take this in mind. He won over $4 million, and he did it being a 7-time Grade 1 winner. I mean, this is a horse that won the Belmont, the American Derby, the Jerome, the Super Derby, the Jockey Club Gold Cup twice, the Meadowlands Cup. I mean, it's just a really cool resume that he has, and it's so nice to see that name in this pedigree. So Strong Mandate, as we mentioned himself, I mean, you got to love that he was a Grade 1 winner, and he did that in style. He won the Hopeful Stakes he could have won it by 10 if he wanted to. The official margin, 9 3/4 lengths. He was geared down there, but it's one of the largest victory margins in over 100 years of the sire-making race. Great bullet point. You have to put that up on 3 Chimneys, because boy, does that speak to just the ability to have that precociousness to win with such dominance.
Yeah, and the Grade 1 winner at 2 by Tiz Now as well.
Yeah.
Tiz Now's a great stallion. It's not one that you would have expected such precociousness, but but I thought that was a nice selling point for him.
Oh yeah, and he's third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Yeah, and he's got some good offspring. Had some good results with Risky Mandate, third in the Prior S, and Mariango. I always have a hard time pronouncing this.
It's okay.
Marianne or Ginger. I got to think about Gilligan's
Island. Oh, we're going Gilligan's
Island.
All right.
Yeah, so won the Astoria. So he's had some promising offspring, and hoping for the best for him.
Well, it's nice to see. I'm always a fan of consistency, and to have, again, him be a 4th generation Grade 1 winner with other great horses within the pedigree too. It's just nice to see it. And you also have a horse that was a fan favorite for a couple of reasons, not only due to the ability he possessed, but also just absolutely gorgeous. If you love Chrome, then you love Will Take Charge. Will Take Charge by Unbridled Song. Unbridled Song, I mean, what a legacy. As I discussed earlier, he's the only other horse to have 6 individual winners of Breeders' Cup races. He himself won the 95 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He went on at 3, and like his sire, Unbridled, won the Florida Derby. So Will Take Charge, his offspring, Will Take Charge himself is out of Broodmare of the Year, Take Charge Lady, and she herself was a game multiple Grade 1 winner. Will Take Charge. Let's talk about him. You have a horse, Eclipse Champion 3-year-old. He was a Horse of the Year finalist. He put in one of the most edge of your seat performances in the Breeders' Cup Classic, where it was him, Mucho Macho Man, and Declaration of War right there at the wire. But on top of it, like I said, not only was he a great racehorse on track, one of the points you bring up, which I think needs to be repeated here, 3 years old, take into consideration, 11 starts in 11 months at 8 tracks, including all 3 Triple Crown races. What constitution he had, right?
Yeah, he definitely did. He and his size, he's a big horse. So he was such a sound. I mean, he was such a sound horse, and for him to have so many starts at his size, I mean, he started 21 times. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. Just under $4 million in earnings. This is a horse. You want to talk again about pedigree? As we just discussed, or as I just mentioned, Take Charge Lady. She herself won nearly $2.5 million. She won the Spinster twice. She won the Ashland Stakes. She was second in the Kentucky Oaks. She went on to produce Take Charge Indy, another Florida Derby winner. You must be happy to see that they repatriated him for a good reason, even though he's at a different farm. He's over at Windstar, but it's still nice to see that, yes, this is a female family that is continuing to incentivize breeders. But this is also the female family of Take Charge Brandy. She won the 2014 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. She took the Eclipse for 2-year-old fillies in that same year. She herself was by Giants Causeway. But another cool thing here is not only does it include Take Charge Brandy, but her dam also produced Omaha Beach. So, I mean, it's just stellar here. I mean, Omaha Beach, Grade 1 winner, won the Arkansas Derby. We're going to be looking forward to that tomorrow. He won 5 of 10 starts. He was never off the board. He also won the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, and he capped his career off with a score in the Malibu. You got to be really, really happy with how this has turned out for this family here.
Yeah, no, he's been great, and he's had a lot of graded stakes perforers. Manny Wah was third in the Malibu.
Wayne Catalana,
Take Charge Angel. So they're right there. As you look through the graded stakes, you'll see a Will Take Charge in there. And, so we've been proud of him. Yeah. By the way, the full sister to Omaha Beach, Take Charge Tressa, has a filly running in the maiden special tomorrow. Willis Horton owned Will Take Charge, and in his later years of racing, partnered with Three Chimneys. So that was a fun partnership. But anyway, she's running tomorrow.
Oh, right. Okay, we're going to be keeping our eye out. That's exciting.
Yeah, but anyway, Will Take Charge has been. He was the first stallion for the new Three Chimneys, or the new ownership. And so he's a really sweet horse too, from a personality standpoint. He's the opposite of Palace Malice.
Has Palace Malice actually got his teeth into you? I'm getting the feeling he has.
He's not.
Oh no.
But he's. I keep my distance.
There you go. Does he have a cone?
Palace Malice.
Does he? Back when Lady Eli was racing, they used to have the cone in front of her stall in the Brown Barn.
Yeah.
Make sure, keep a wide berth. But yeah, I mean, well, you're discussing his temperament. When Wayne had Manny Wah, I was there at the barn at Fairgrounds, and oh my gosh, he was so endearing, that colt. He had his sire's Big Blaze. He was sweet boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. It's a great pedigree, and again, just with the repatriation of Take Charge Indy, and the solid pedigree and class that's come from this line, now including Omaha Beach. Very a pedigree to watch, and I'm excited for. Do you know what race it is tomorrow?
It's the second race.
The second race. Okay. Yeah. We'll be looking forward to that. Let's see here. Gosh, there's just so much that we could go over, and I feel like we've gotten to a heart of a lot of stuff. Is there anything you feel like we should discuss that we haven't in terms of the stallion roster?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
Okay, well then now we're going to have to discuss this because I would be remiss not to. With what's going on with COVID-19, and we always say at these farms, the health protocols that have been laid out, you guys are already following those anyway. A breeding farm especially has got to be very sterile. So that probably hasn't changed a ton for you, but is there anything, other things that have come into play that have changed how you go about business there at Three Chimneys, and if so, what are they?
Well, all the stallion farms in Kentucky have been very fortunate that we had the support of the governor and government to keep open.
Yeah.
And everyone, including van drivers, grooms in the barn, have been practicing all those health protocols. And so essentially, the farm has been kind of running as usual from a foaling and breeding standpoint. However, with the protocols in place, and fortunately, foaling barns, as you know, are a sterile environment anyway.
Yes.
So other than kind of keeping, you kind of have to be close to pull out a foal sometimes, but everyone's been very conscious of that. So essentially, doing what the race trackers at Oaklawn Park are doing is just following the health protocols and trying to stay as business as usual as possible. But the biology of it, the foals are still being born.
Yeah.
So just trying to stay safe and keep the horses healthy as well.
Well, we thankfully had the good news come down that Churchill's backside is going to be opening very soon. Live racing will be underway. Spectator free, but that's better than nothing. But just from the breeding standpoint of it, it goes without saying, and I've said it before, it goes without saying, of course, protecting people, minimizing risk is paramount. Again, I shouldn't even have to say that. But you can acknowledge that, and you can also acknowledge the fact that this does have ramifications from a business standpoint in terms of now the race schedule and races that horses would normally be pointed to, not only just as race horses to contest who's faster, but also from the standpoint of making a stud in the future, of picking up black type for a mare. What do you foresee in how the breeding side of things are going to go about and looking at this year? Have you heard anything? Do you have your own opinions already formed about what this kind of means when we look at catalog pages going forward for this crop, and maybe it'll affect going into the 3-year-old season too?
I don't really. Nobody really knows much of anything. I think the fact that some of these big races have been postponed, it's too. I think it's just too early to tell.
Yeah.
You've got Keeneland and I don't have any inside knowledge whatsoever.
No.
But I did read that they were looking at the potential for maybe some racing this summer, and so I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
It would be my answer.
Because we just, we think about, for example, Saratoga. That's where, I play my 2-year-olds, and, I'm looking for those catalog pages to sort of envision what horses are going to have the precociousness to win early, but then also the class to keep on getting better as they mature. And I just don't know how this is all going to carry out. I know, thank goodness, Breeders' Cup is still in play. We're still selling those tickets, and we have is all the hope in the world that we're going to be enjoying a fantastic 2-day World Championship, and that I love the optimism of our industry. I really do. I've noticed this from all sides of it, from the breeding side, the trainers. Yes, of course, there's frustrations right now, but everybody is really pulled together to support one another. We have a lot of great stuff going on. If you have been watching the Cocktails and Conversation with Brittany and Nick Luck. They have different guests every Thursday, and they're raising money to provide relief for those affected by COVID-19 in the racing industry. So, you know, I feel emboldened. I feel good about what's going to happen for the second part of the year, but it has just been crazy going into 2020, and I can only imagine what it's like for you and a large breeding operation there in Kentucky.
Well, I mean, fortunately, the breeding and the foaling has been kind of, you know, going on as usual, which is great. But yeah, the key is just following the protocols and applaud the tracks that have stayed open, and applaud Churchill for you know, getting the protocols in place, and hopefully there are more to come. So
yeah,
I agree with you. It's a resilient industry, and hopefully we'll come out of it, you know, in one piece.
Well, I have to thank people like you and you know, my past guests for coming on, because it really does help to, for me personally also, it helps to feel like I'm still working. Yes, I'm in a home studio, but I was in a home studio before, so that hasn't really changed. But you know, it's nice to feel like you know, there is you know, just a routine still in place, and not everything has been, you know, brought down to a halt. And I've been asking my guests the same question, and now I'm going to throw it to you. I know you have it better than most, you know, all the people who are on the farms do, because you actually can still go out and, you know, see the horses and the beautiful landscape out there and the bluegrass. But there are things that you still can't do. You can't go to restaurants, you can't go to sporting events, et cetera, et cetera. So how are you getting through this, you know, social distancing period with either a crap TV show, or is there just garbage food you're eating? How are you getting through?
So, well, like you said, we're lucky that we're in the horse business, that you can, you know, take a drive down and see horses over the fence. And I think actually I'm a little bit jealous of you guys, because I think I saw a tweet from Matt. Do you have goats outside of
Yes, we had. Oh my gosh, yes. So
I'm jealous about your goats for sure.
I miss them. They're gone now because they ate all the grass. They ate all the grass that they needed to eat, and so their wranglers, you know, got the dog out there, and he rounded them all up, and off they went.
Yeah. Well, so from our standpoint, it's not really horse related, but we've got 3 kids, and when I was growing up, we would watch, like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. We'd watch the Cosby Show or whatever type of TV show. Yeah. And in this day and age, with iPads and everything, it's kind of harder to have family time. But with so much family time, it's been actually kind of nice, because we've gotten into some family-friendly Netflix shows together.
Okay.
So, you know, it's been a silver lining for us to, you know, with this home in place.
Do you want to throw a name out there? Because I have a 22. Oh, she's 22 months old. Oh my gosh, I lose track. You know.
Yeah.
So I need.
So we were that. So our kids are 10, 13, and 15. So I don't think we'd be in the same show demographic.
Oh, probably not.
As far as suggestions, but anyway, I've forgotten all those shows.
Oh, how's a 15-year-old handling this situation?
Ready to get back to normal life.
I'm sure, right? Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. But I gotta thank you for taking out, you know, time out your evening and joining us here on the Future Stars Friday forecast. It's been so fun hanging out, Case, and I wish you and your studs and all the little, you know, 4-legged fuzzballs out there well and much success.
Yeah, and I appreciate you having me, and I would just encourage when for listeners, when it's time to get out again, to get on horsecountry.com. And that's the tours. That's the visitors, all these great horse farms here in Kentucky. And so when you can get out again, come visit us and see these horses for yourselves.
You absolutely have to do it, guys. I know out here in California we have wine tours. Well, Kentucky has the horse tours, and it's amazing. It takes you behind the gates, and you can see these stars up close. It's really amazing. So yeah, check that out, horse country.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Case. I really do appreciate it, and I'm gonna be looking for that filly tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Ren.
Thank you. You have a great evening. All right, bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye. So that was my special guest, Case Clay of Three Chimneys Farm. I want to thank you again. You were amazing. It's so much fun. For the rest of you out there, thanks for tuning in. I hope you're staying healthy, staying safe, staying happy. And if you have any shows I should check out, tweet at me at Ren Carruthers because I'm running out of ideas, okay? In the meantime, I will see you here next week for the Future Stars Friday forecast.